From Careco TV, one of the longest running outdoor programs on television today. Exploring the country and the coast in search of adventures. From the mountains of the great Northwest to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Americana Outdoors, presented by Garmin. Previously on Americana Outdoors, we spent some quality time in Arkansas and had the privilege of witnessing some great waterfowl hunting and hunting dogs working.
Attaboy, Hootie! Come on in here, buddy!
This week, we're headed to Central Texas and meeting up with a hunting retriever club to learn about how hunters train their dogs to prepare them for the field.
We're in Central Texas, actually at the Central Texas Retriever Club, testing dogs today. We are judging finished dogs. Finished as in what we consider a high school graduate in our dog games. Most of them are 2 to 5 years old. Some of them actually have run and passed the grand. So this is our pinnacle for our weekend hunt test, to run this test. This is our upper level classification. We have started dogs which are all the way from 4 months old all the way to, a couple of years old. Then they move to the transition level, which is what we call seasoned. Once they get their qualification there and their points that they need, they move to this level and finished. And then once you get a hunting retriever champion title, which is what you're trying to achieve by running these tests, you are qualified to run our International Grand Hunt Test, which is our Super Bowl in tests. So they're run twice a year.
Let's take a look at these hunting dogs in action as they run through stage 1 of the finished dog course.
Benelli. Good girl, come on. Good job, bud. Look at you. You got a bird. Hey, hey. Ooh, look at you. Good, over. All right, bud.
Now, as we highlight these skilled dogs on the training course, you may be asking yourself, what tools does HRC use to train dogs to learn commands from the start? Here's what the HRC pros have to say about the crucial role Garmin plays in their ability to train dogs.
Garmin is one of our legacy sponsors. They are our elite sponsor. Each club in HRC has an option to either get a e-collar or a transmitter receiver. Garmin donates one of those devices one a year to each club. So that's a huge investment from them. Their products are amazing. They're essential for training a dog to any level.
In my opinion, the use of an e-collar in training is to get necessary corrections that need to be made that you couldn't make without it. Your goal is to obviously get them to the point where without the e-collar on, they're gonna do what you're gonna tell them to do. And that's why putting it on and training with it, it can help them in hunt tests like this, where sometimes a dog is gonna be a dog, but they also know that if they have a collar on, in their brain they're thinking, oh, last time I did that, I got nicked. Probably not gonna do it again. So it just helps build their trust with you, I'd say, and to also just make them be honest is the best way to put it.
For years, Garmin has developed a line of dog training electronics and evolved those products to fit a variety of scenarios hunters would need to use them for, be it near a river, in a wide open field, and even in whiteout blizzard conditions. In the last year, Garmin debuted their most recent addition to their selection of dog training tools, the Delta SE, which gives the everyday user the opportunity to train their dogs like the pros.
I really like it for the clients. I really like being able to give them something and a tool that they know how to use and it's easy to use. Giving someone something that they're not going to use correctly, not a good idea. You don't want to burn a dog up on it or anything. But having the Garmin, it's super easy. There's only a couple buttons and you can't really mess it up. So it's pretty simple and easy to use.
So this little collar is good for your house dog that you just want to teach to maybe sit, or maybe you want him to heel better, walk closer to you in the park. all the way to this level, this finished level hunting retriever, or use it hunting. It's a great little collar, very simple, very easy to use.
We'll return to the field in just a moment, but in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel. We've reached the final stretch of hunt tests with the Central Texas Retriever Club. After dipping our paws in the pond, it's time to see what these trials look like on dry land.
Sit. Rosie! Hey, see me? Heel. Shit. Rosie! Good girl. Here. Heel. Shit. Shit. Rosie. Good girl, sweetie. Here. Here. Dead. Back! Back!
And with that final retrieval, Rosie passed her last run of the day. Here's Glenn to give us some insight on how these tests are structured.
We were in Arkansas, we had multiple blinds that we sent our dogs on. We trained to run those. Again, we were trying to simulate a test out here today, so you saw us run blinds there. We also had marks where they saw them shot and fall in the field, and they had to go get them and bring them back to their handler. We had 2 dogs working there, so they had to work together. They couldn't fight over the bird. Same thing out here. We're simulating exactly what we saw in hunting season in Arkansas. Like I said, we try to replicate the test as best as we can to match what we might see in a hunting scenario.
Now that we've reviewed what levels of training dogs go through with the HRC and why these hunt tests are structured in a manner that mimic real-life hunting scenarios, you may still be asking, but why do I need an expertly trained hunting dog to begin with? Well, we all know well-trained dogs are fun to watch as they go tearing through the field to retrieve a downed bird. But what's even more important in any hunting scenario is bearing in mind that a well-trained dog is a safe dog. As hunters, we're all too aware that accidents can and do happen, and our friend Glenn is a living testament to this fact.
So, late 90s, I purchased a chocolate male with the intention of training him to be a duck dog. I'd had dogs all my life, but I had no idea how to train one. The dog was a couple of years old. In 2000, I was duck hunting on a lake a little bit north of Texarkana, Arkansas. 3 other friends hunting out of 2 boats, and this chocolate lab that I had bought and trained, or half-heartedly trained, was in the boat with me, and he was kind of the dog that wouldn't sit right all the time. He kind of roamed in the boat. He was not well trained, and that was my fault. I didn't put the time into him. We had a pretty good hunt, killed some ducks that morning. Around 11 o'clock, we decided that it's time to go in. The gentleman I was hunting with had left his gun loaded, propped up in the back seat of the boat. As we were banging around in the boat, it fell over and hit the side of the boat and discharged about a foot into the back of my left thigh, severing my femur artery and femur bone. When they got me to the hospital, they said my eyes were fixed and dilated. I was under complete cardiac arrest, 12 hours of surgery, 48 units of whole blood, and I was bleeding out. My blood wasn't coagulating. He said that the only chance I had to live was to amputate my leg and seal off the wounds the best we could and go from there. So that was the decision made by my family, which was a great decision. Started out with almost little to no chance of survival, and each day I got a little better. Stayed in there for 3 weeks in an ICU, a week in recovery. I went home, about a month of rehab. 3 months after my accident, I went back to work. Fast forward a little bit, I decided that the next dog that I got, I wanted to be a trained dog that would sit and stay and wouldn't be a hindrance to a hunt. So it was more important for me to have a more elite dog. No idea what Hunting Retriever Club was, but I knew that we had a local chapter. That group helped me learn how to train a dog, and how to train a dog for hunt test. So I was able to go back as an amputee and play the dog games along with everybody else. I didn't have a disability, so to speak. HRC gave me an outlet. I love it. I love the dogs foremost, the people right there with that. We all volunteer our time, and each club hosts events across the United States. So we have events going on today all across the United States with dogs from all the way from Canada all the way down to where we are.
The best way to get yourself involved with a hunting retriever club is by going online to hrc.dog and finding a local club. Take it from Glenn, you don't want to risk any accidents when you're in the field, and joining the HRC community is a decision you'll never regret. Now, as we wrap up our day, we'd like to extend a warm thank you to the HRC for inviting us out to observe these dogs in action. And if you want to get your hands on any of these top-of-the-line dog training essentials, head on over to Garmin.com. We'll return to the field in just a moment, but in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel. We're down in Southwest Texas where Wade Middleton has a deer camp, and we'll join him as he prepares to head out on a whitetail hunt. For this hunt, he'll be using a TenPoint Nitro 505, equipped with a Garmin Xero X1i crossbow scope. Right now, it's mid-December and the rut is in full swing. As we all know, you never know what you may or may not see from deer behavior during this time of the season. This should be a fun hunt.
December in Texas is one of my most favorite times to go hunting and one of my least favorite times to go hunting. And you know, that may cause people's eyebrows to kind of wrinkle up or go, what is he talking about? But it is a time frame that it's like all the work that we've done for the last 11 months pays off, but it also doesn't pay off. And once again, confusing, because the rut in Texas, out where our deer lease is and our camp is set up, these deer just travel for so far when they get to chasing does that all the patterns, all the things that we kind of think we know or we believe we know really go out the window. Deer, you would think you'd see them all coming in, but sometimes they're just ghosts and they just appear. And this deer just was there. And so I'm just kind of watching him and judging his actions, and he's pretty comfortable. So I'm just sitting there waiting, and I mean, it's not a minute until that deer kind of raises his head up, looks off in the distance, and he starts trotting away from me. This is good and this is bad. Now he's getting out there where I can get a shot, but he might not stop. I've played this game before and I've gotten heartbreak from it. I've got images in my mind of deer running off into the sunset, and I'm like, man, I'm now with him walking away, I've raised the crossbow, I'm up, I'm aiming, ranging with my Xero. I'm doing everything to get in position to get the shot. Back. Scope in the market right here, perfectly ranged. I got so nervous I didn't get the freaking safety off. Pulled the trigger, re-ranged him, he raised his head up, I grunted at him, and it just, everything sure looked good on there. I love hunting in the rut. You just don't know what's going to show up, when it's going to show up, how it's all going to go down, how fast it's going to go down. Gamble not coming back to this stand this morning, the sun, I mean, you can see I'm lit up like crazy right here. 34-yard shot. He just kind of popped out of the creek right here at 20 yards, and I knew if I raised up I was going to block him from where Gentry was trying to film. And he kind of nibbled on a few nuggets of corn we threw out, and then he was heading on out, go look for those, keep working on down the creek. And when he raised his head up out there and started walking away, I knew I had to keep ranging. And you know, you just hit this little button
and the scope is constantly ranging. But I knew once he got out there, boy, this ain't gonna last much longer. He was just gonna do that, and he kind of turned this way, turned that way, then he got his butt, and I just kept ranging and ranging. Like I said, then I forgot to take safety off, got a little too excited, and then when I finally did, got everything set up, boom.
We'll return to the field in just a moment, but in the meantime, take this opportunity to subscribe to our Americana Outdoors YouTube channel. We're back with Wade in Southwest Texas as he searches for the whitetail he took a shot on just before break, and it looks like he's just found his arrow.
There we go. Looks pink to me. Through there, we know we hit mid-body. We know we hit going forward. We feel like we've got a double lung. We know he ran out that direction right there. So there it is right there. That's what we always want to find. We haven't found a ton of blood so far, but we know where he ran in right up here, where he should have been struggling at crossing the road. So we're just going to ease up there, keep looking for blood, and then ease in where we think he went. Here we go, getting a lot now. It's really starting to open up. Both sides through here. It's really splattering where he's running now. I was like, how did he go this far? But he sure made it look good ways. What a cool 8-point. Oh, what a cool 8-point this did. I knew our shot was perfect, but sometimes they go further than you think they possibly can. That 10-point did some damage. That's gruesome. I love 8-points like this, and I love to hunt them and fill the freezer and smoke them good like that. You know, this buck got out in front of us and kind of turned around. I'm ranging him, and when you can range something with supreme confidence like the Garmin Xero scope, I mean, it's just the ultimate confidence. And this deer was meant to be mine. Fill the freezer for Angel 9, everybody at camp, and fake his antlers and put it up in a cool place and tell a story. And this is just a big old nice, good-bodied, well-fed 8-point from Brackenville, Texas. I love it.
Congratulations, Wade. This is yet another awesome 8-point buck you can add to your collection. Now that we've seen the Garmin Xero X1i crossbow scope in action, let's learn more about it from one of our Garmin friends, Patrick Bowman.
What we did with the crossbow is we basically took the same technology as the A1i bow sight and moved it over, made it better, and put it on a crossbow. The crossbow scope's got 3.5 times magnification, which is perfect out to shooting any distance with a crossbow. It's got an auto calibration, which is super simple and easy to set up. It's just a very simple 3-step process. Shooting at 5 yards to get on paper, shooting at 20 and making sure we're hitting the bullseye, and then checking that bullseye at 50 yards to auto calibrate our pin stack. The reason to buy an X1i is really the adjustability of these scopes. Anything that you want to see in that sight window you can see. Anything you don't want to see you can turn off. It's got a slew of leveling features to make sure your crossbow's level when you're shooting it. It's got your range right in the right side of the scope. It's got a yardstick to show you, give you a gauge of distance out in the field. It's just got so many cool features and settings that you can turn on and off, like flight apex, that are just incredible. You know, and like I said, it can be as simple of a scope as you want it to be, or it can be as complex of a scope as you want it to be. At the end of the day, the important part is the fact that you're able to range a target and get a single pin at that distance that is the most accurate aiming solution on the market. The X1i is really one of those scopes that you can take with you for generations of crossbows. You know, you could own 5 different crossbows and move that thing from crossbow to crossbow. All you got to do is reset it, start from scratch, and you're set up in 20 minutes. It's one of the easiest setup processes. I clearly remember when I first had my first crossbow with a normal scope on it, just fiddling with that thing, going back and forth, trying to get it properly aligned This X1i is mostly electronic, which makes it that much easier downrange to set up. It's just a really cool piece of technology.
You heard Patrick. This Xero X1i crossbow scope from Garmin is not something you'll want to leave off your gear list next time you're hitting the field. To get your hands on this revolutionary piece of equipment, head on over to Garmin.com. Hey, thank you for watching, and join us next week on a new episode of Americana Outdoors. Americana Outdoors is a Careco TV production.